Cyprus, the birthplace of the goddess of love, Aphrodite. This island state is situated in the eastern Mediterranean Sea and is known and loved for its minerals as well as its beauty. Today, readers and viewers of Embassy Direct, we are honored to be joined by His Excellency, Adonis Mandritis. Thank you so much, High Commissioner of the Republic of Cyprus.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. And thanks for this preface. You mentioned so many things, okay, which includes actually everything, the history, geography, and the very essence of my country. And thanks for giving me this opportunity to communicate with the South Africans through this interview.
It is a pleasure. It is an absolute pleasure. Excellency, as the recently appointed Cypriot High Commissioner, please could you share your experience of your diplomatic tour so far? Very short.
In South Africa, you mean? Not my journey through my career from the beginning.
I mean, if you would like to, but...
Yeah, I've been to interesting countries. First, I was posted in Beijing, China, then Mexico City. Immediately after Mexico City, I was in Tel Aviv, in Israel. At the same time, I was responsible for the Palestinian territories. Then, continuously 9 years abroad. Then I went back to my country. And in August 2015, I was posted in Thessaloniki, the second largest city of Greece, as general consul. I went back to Cyprus December 2017, and now I'm in South Africa. Actually, I arrived 30th of September in South Africa, and I start working for 1st of October, since it's a day off in Cyprus because it's our national day. It's independence of Cyprus, and I had to go to Johannesburg. I remember very well. We have the Sahedi school. It's a Greek-speaking school, because the majority of Cypriots were of Greek origin, Greek-speaking, let's say. And since they prepared something for the independence of my country, I went there to deliver a speech, and I felt very, very comfortable. First of all, it's a nice country. It's very beautiful. The people also, I also received the hospitality, the lovely people, and I feel quite home. This is the most important, first of all. I have many compatriots here in South Africa, and they make even more comfortable my life. I've already established excellent relations with my colleagues in DIRCO and many other, with the authorities in general. It's a large diplomatic community here in Pretoria. And hopefully I have the chance to travel all around the country and enjoy the beauties of South Africa.
Definitely. I think with the time you're going to be here, you'll definitely have time to do that.
Yeah.
How would you define the historic relationship your country shares with South Africa, and where does the relationship stand today?
Well, we have traditionally excellent diplomatic relations, and they are based of mutual respect, multilateralism, democratic principles, and respect the statute of the United Nations. If we speak more politically and diplomatically. But even many, many years ago, as I think I mentioned, that Cyprus became an independent state in 1960. We used to be a British colony. And since that time, well, concerning people-to-people relations, we have, since the beginning of the 20th century, since Cypriots start coming in South Africa, since that time, I think after the end of the First World War, actually, more or less that time. And concerning people-to-people, state-to-state relations, as I told you, since 1960, since that time as former British colony, we became member immediately of the Commonwealth countries and the non-aligned movement. And we enhance actually the struggle, not only of South Africa, but in general with Africa, mainly sub-Saharan African countries, to gain their independence from, let's say, their metropolis, either France or Britain. And of course, we enforce the people of South Africa in order to get their freedom, And so since that time, we have this kind historically. And if you allow me, we have an embassy here. First, we got a general consulate in Johannesburg, but around 2000, since that time, we have an embassy in, actually, since 98, I think. I remember because I entered the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that year. And I remember a gentleman when he told me, my dear young colleague, I have to say goodbye because I'm going as the first High Commissioner of Cyprus in South Africa. Yes, since 98.
Oh, nice. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Cyprus and its nationals have made important investments in South Africa. What are the main fields of interest for Cypriot investors? And may you highlight some of the companies that are represented here?
Yes, I was telling you that I have a lot of compatriots here. Unfortunately, I can, though we're far away from our country, the good thing is that I can find many Cypriot products in South Africa, as the famous Cypriot cheese, which is called halloumi. I noticed that it's quite famous because it's served in many restaurants in Pretoria and Johannesburg. So they are import actually a lot of Cypriot products here in like olives, cheese in South Africa. Well, concerning my compatriots, they are dealing mainly with infrastructure, real estates, clothing and retail industry mainly, and yes, and tourism of course as well, because we have Cypriots visiting South Africa. Maybe not so many, but yes, we have Cypriots visiting South Africa, mainly to see their relatives and sightseeing. And at the same time, we have South Africans, not only Cypriot origin South Africans, visiting Cyprus. I can say it's quite efficient. I mean, the commercial relations between the two countries, though there is always more space to develop even further this kind of relations. And also, I don't remember if I mentioned in construction companies. Actually, the biggest mall in Cyprus, the constructor of the biggest mall in Cyprus a few months ago, the owner is South African.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Very cool, yeah.
Nice.
Well, I guess I can add something.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Even later, when we're talking about an overall estimation concerning the relations of these countries, not only commercially or economically, but in various fields, in many fields. Politically, we have very good relations, diplomatic and political relations. We cooperate in international fora. Both countries are Commonwealth countries, as you know. Very active in the United Nations and all, and what we call anyway multilateralism. We are not anymore member of the non-aligned movement. We are EU member states. Okay, we follow the European external policy, but as an independent and sovereign state, we have also our policy, especially concerning international aspects like terrorism, green agenda, peaceful coexistence, and many other fields concerning the international relations. And of course, we have cultural and educational relations. But I think this would be in one of your following questions about educational. I don't know if you are interested about. We had a visit. At that time, I was in Cyprus. I was the head of the African department, including, of course, South Africa. I was watching closely the relations between my country and sub-Saharan African countries, especially South Africa, because, well, actually, it's a pity, but I didn't mention this before. In South Africa, it's the only embassy that we have in Sub-Sahara. We don't have embassy, diplomatic mission, let's say, in other sub-Saharan countries. Actually, in the whole Africa, we have only in Cairo and Pretoria, only Egypt and South Africa. We used to have also in many years ago in Kenya, in Nairobi, but it was closed in 2013 because of the economic crisis. But soon we're gonna open embassy in Nairobi, and we're planning to operate an embassy in Addis Ababa. And of course, we used to have in Libya, but because of the problems there, the war, we have our ambassador back in Nicosia, but hopefully he will return to Tripoli, to Libya, to assume responsibilities as our ambassador there. But at this precise moment, it's the only diplomatic mission we have in sub-Saharan countries. And we had as I was telling you, the visit of our Minister of Culture and Education in South Africa. And we are very close to reach an agreement or memorandum of understanding concerning the educational relations between the two countries, primarily in the field of education, and emphasizing and giving more attention, let's say, to the youth, to welcome students from South Africa and vice versa. And recently we offer from the tertiary education institutions, private and state universities, they offer scholarship to young South African students in case they are interested to go to and study in Cyprus, which is convenient for them because they don't have to learn one of our two constitutional languages. In Cyprus, we have two constitutional languages, Greek and Turkish, but all of them are English speaking, so that's why. I guess it's quite easy for them to go and study in my country.
As a tourist destination, what points of interest would you recommend South Africans to travel to when visiting the country? And what are the health and visa requirements that are in place for South Africans?
I will start with the last part of your question, which is more painful. Actually,
Let's start with the painful.
With the pandemic, with the COVID, you never know. They are changing from moment to moment. So, for the time being, first of all, we are very much obliged because as Cypriots, we don't need visa to come to South Africa. Up to 1 month, you can come without a visa, but the visa is required concerning South Africans in order to go to Cyprus, because this is, I think this is because, as I told you, we follow European Union concerning not only political aspects, but also consular issues and many other aspects and issues. Well, South Africa is considered a gray zone, gray category country. So for the time being, you cannot travel to Cyprus as a tourist. There are only some categories are allowed to go to Cyprus, like I think for health matters, business, and study. And in this case, PCR is required 72 hours before departing from South Africa. And you have to go through a process which is called Cyprus Flight Pass. Through internet, it's how to say, it's like a platform. 24 hours prior to your departure, you have to go through. It's like filling in a form asking for this permission, this like entry permit. In a way, it's more or less like this, but as I told you, only for these purposes for the time being, because of the pandemic. Now, since things are getting worse, I don't know. Hopefully, everything will get better. Hopefully. Yeah. Now, about the beauties of the island, which is it's not so nasty question. It sounds much better. Cyprus is a small, it's an island, well, not very small. It's the third largest island in Mediterranean after Sicily and Sardinia. Our population, it's less than 1 million. Cyprus is very interesting historically, religiously, culturally. We have a millenarian history from the Phoenicians and ancient Greek time, because 2000, more or less 2000 years before Christ, they came from mainland Greece and they settlers, and since that time, Cyprus became mostly Greek-speaking country. We became part of the empire of Alexander the Great. Then Cyprus was part of when Alexander the Great died, his empire was divided between his generals. And in Egypt was the famous dynasty of Ptolemy. And the last one of these kings or pharaohs was the famous Cleopatra. So until that time, Cyprus was part of the Ptolemaic, let's say, state, Greek mainly, state of Ptolemaios dynasty. Then we became part of the Roman Empire. Then the Byzantine Empire, we have the Christianization of Cyprus at that time. After the Byzantine, through that time we have also some invasions, and we became part of the Franks monarch, Venetians, and some Western kingdom, medieval kingdom. Then we became part of the Ottoman Empire. Then in 1878, we became part of the British Empire, British colony, and we gained our independence in 1960. So it's very interesting. Unfortunately, you don't have the greenery of South Africa, but as we are island, we are surrounded by sea. Okay. I think before I was telling you that I prefer greenery, lakes, rivers. In Cyprus. Unfortunately, it's not raining so much. You have to go up to the mountains to see this greenery you see in Pretoria, for example. But if you go up to the mountains, it's very, very beautiful, because you can see many religious monuments. We have some monasteries from 11th century, for example, which some of them are part of the international UNESCO heritage. Up to the mountains. Of course, you can enjoy our traditional food. It's recommendable. Hopefully one day you can go and enjoy we have variety, of food. Fortunately, it's not so spicy. I know you like spicy food in South Africa, but it's not so. We also have spicy foods, but mainly it's not spicy. We have a variety, either fish, meat, salads, dairy products. Okay, you can enjoy our cuisine, which is quite interesting. You can go and see the remainings of ancient Greek and Roman temples, which are very interesting. I'm sure you are aware. You just mentioned in where you introduced me, that Aphrodite, the goddess of love, was born in Cyprus. Actually, it's very interesting history. It is said that a drop and blood and drop of Zeus, of blood, went down to the sea. Immediately it was a foam produced from this drop, because actually Aphrodite means the one who comes from the foam. Comes from the foam. So immediately when the drop touched the sea, foam was produced. And from this foam, Aphrodite came out, the goddess of love, fertility, and what else? Love, fertility, and another thing I forgot. Anyway, which is a part of the 12 gods of Olympus. And actually, it's very famous because they are in Cyprus. She had an affair with Adonis, supposedly one of the most beautiful gods of the antiquity. But Mars, the god of war, was very, very jealous, and he went there and killed Adonis.
Wow.
So it was actually during Easter time. And during this period, we have a lot of, it's like puppets, puppet seeds, It's a very beautiful flower, red flower. And this is because Aphrodite would like to remember his lover. And that's why he said, may your blood go to the earth. And during this time, springtime, we have this kind of flower, which is very, very beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a pretty
So,
sad
yo,
story.
it's many, many legends there you can enjoy, and especially the sea. It's very beautiful, either on the mountains or on the sea. We have many people, especially from Scandinavia, from these countries, and they are coming during summertime to enjoy, especially the sun and the sea in the island of Cyprus.
Diplomatic missions have proven to be a source of business in the cities they're based in, and they have a positive impact on the host country's economy. What would be the best way to engage with your High Commission for someone interested in offering such, like any services or products?
Okay, though we are a very, very small diplomatic mission, we are here at your disposal. I mean, any either companies or people individually, if they want to make business or contacts concerning any field, either education or business, whatever, they can contact us and we can advise them accordingly, but primarily to the chamber commerce that we have in Cyprus. And of course, we have the OMB. It's organization of industrialists and businessmen in Cyprus. It's another organization like the Chamber Commerce. It's the union, let's say, of the industrialists and businessmen in Cyprus. And of course, they can have vice versa contacts and relations. A few years ago, we had a, let's say, seminar or workshop. Cypriot businessmen came here in order to establish directly relations with their counterparts here in South Africa. And actually, before leaving Cyprus, I went to the Chamber of Commerce and the OMB I just mentioned in order to have a continuation to this seminar, workshop, how you call it. And they said, of course, we are willing to come again in South Africa, not only in Pretoria, of course, but also they went to Cape Town and Durban. And of course, I'm planning to organize once again such a workshop to bring together the business community of the two countries. But, it's a pandemic. We have to wait and see. Yeah. Wait and see. At the same time, we have the Cyprus Brotherhood here it's based in Johannesburg. They can contact them as well. But of course, primarily is our mission. We don't have commercial attaché or counselor. I'm the only diplomat in the embassy, actually. We are doing everything, but I think I have capable people and they can direct them accordingly. And if you allow me to go back to the previous question, there are many significant monuments in Cyprus, like in the town of Paphos, you have some unique mosaics where you can see Dionysus. It was the god of, well, not craziness, but amusement and wine. Okay. And wine. Of course, I know you have very good wines.
Yeah,
well,
South Africa,
international, but we also have very, very good wine. Dionysus was also in Cyprus, so you can get drunk as well in Cyprus with the good sense, of the meaning. And what else? Actually, we have Saint Paul. Paul from Jerusalem. It was his first. After he left Palestine that time, he came to Cyprus, and for the first time we have high-ranking Roman official becoming Christian. It was quite a strange story. That's why Cyprus even today is part of what we call religious tourism because of this connectivity of the early Christians. And we have also some other mosaics of Madonna, of Virgin Mary, which are unique all over the world. It's actually in Larnaca, the place where I live. There is a very old church, and there is a wall that is the mosaic of Madonna. And when you go to the church, you have the impression that she looks upon you no matter where you stand.
Oh, really?
It's something really amazing. Of course, we can talk hours about it, but I know you have some limitations concerning time. But the best thing, it's a visit. Because we have a saying in Cyprus, too much words means poverty. We are up to the point. So the best, in this case, the best you have to go and visit the island. Then on your own, you can realize that whatever I told you, it's true, even beyond.
Yes, that's true.
A few days ago, I saw the top 10 destinations like the Grand Canyon, then
Drakensberg.
Drakensberg,
Yes.
Bumalanga, Kruger Park. And well, hopefully I will visit also the mines, because I like gold and diamonds very much. I like precious stones. So I would like to visit these places, the monuments you have in this country, and of course to go in Durban and Cape Town as well, because we have big communities there. Well, what are my aspirations to enhance even further the relations between the two countries, primarily to work along with South Africa in the international field. As you know, now the humanity faces many challenges. Pandemic is one of them. The green agenda, terrorism, reducing poverty, in the framework of multilateralism, as I mentioned at the beginning of my interview. And of course, to make more visible the presence of Cyprus in this country, and of course to be at the side of my compatriots and help them, to be with them, and because they are well established, they are organizing many events. Everybody knows about the Cyprus community. You know, it's quite promising that we have big countries and they have only few nationals here in South Africa. We are a small country, but we have a big presence concerning our community. So I want to be at their side and help them in their efforts, and conclude happily my term in South Africa.
Love that. Love that. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing so much beautiful history about Cyprus. I want to pronounce it the way you do, but it might
Cyprus.
not. Cyprus.
If you allow me, I will tell you something. I remember when I was in Mexico, and dicho is saying, which said, el libro es conocimiento y la historia entretenimiento, which means the book, libro es conocimiento, gives you knowledge, y la historia entretenimiento, but the history offers you something even more important than knowledge, a pleasure. Elevates you, something which makes you feel spiritually even better.
Wow. We learned something new today. I just can't say it in Spanish, but thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have a lovely afternoon. Lord have mercy. It looks like evening. But yeah, that concludes our interview.
Thank you very much indeed.